when in the beginning, like, I was a hot mess with trying to figure out the math. Hi, it's Sonia here with The Pretty Stitch. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, I'm so happy to have you here. So today we are going to be doing another crochet chat. I did one for the first time last week and I really enjoyed it, so I thought I would do another one. And maybe it'll be a weekly thing where I'm just going to sit, crochet, maybe I'll knit. So if you haven't guessed, this channel is a knit crochet channel, mostly crochet. I don't knit as well as I crochet, but I can knit a little. And I have tutorials, patterns, anything knit crochet related on here. So today I thought I would work on another pattern that I'm working on. And like I said, I'll probably mostly be doing crocheting. So it'll be a crochet chat and we'll just chat about things. And maybe occasionally we'll do a knit chat, but when I'm knitting, I have to be like super focused. Where with crochet, obviously I have to be a little focused, but I can be a little less focused and still crochet fine. Where with knitting, if I am not as focused, then I make a lot of mistakes. And knitting is really challenging to fix, at least for me it is. Where with crochet, if you have a mistake, you just whoosh, rip it back to where the mistake is and then just carry on. Where knitting, it's like very painstakingly trying to take apart your work, and so the whole thing doesn't get messed up to fix your mistake. So I don't have a lot of time to just sit and chat. I wish I did, but I don't. My daughter's in a track meet today, so I have about 20 minutes and then I have to leave for the track meet, and their season's going okay. It's not a stellar season by any means. They're going through some growing pains, I think. 3 years ago, they won the championships when my son was on the track team, actually, and they had a lot of amazing athletes. They all graduated, and so, like I said, that's kind of how it is, I think, with any type of sports team. Like, they'll have an amazing season and then, they're kind of building back up again. So I think that's kind of what's been going on the last couple of years. But we do have some really good standout runners. So right now I think they're just building and growing and just working on being a team. But yeah, hopefully it'll go well. The weather is absolutely beautiful today. It might rain, probably will. Track meets, I have sat through rain, wind, freezing cold, windy, rainy, freezing cold, snow. I've been through it with the track meet thing. Mud. So I actually have like a kit that I bring. Someone gave me for Christmas one year. I asked for one of those folding seats, like stadium seats, and the person who gave it to me, they gave me like the Mercedes of folding seats. This thing is amazing. It's in my favorite color, purple. I didn't care what color it was going to be, but they know I love purple, so they got me a purple one. It is cushioned, because some of them aren't cushioned, and this one is cushioned. Has a cup holder, has a handle for carrying, it has a strap for like carrying like a purse. I mean, this thing is an amazing stadium seat. I am so thrilled to have it. And even when we're done with track, and she's my last one in school, so she'll be graduating in about a year. We still do some things in the community where you have to sit on bleachers, and as you get older, those bleachers, they're not as comfortable. So those kind of seats really come in handy. So I have my stadium seat, I have my backpack, I'll always bring a blanket, I have an umbrella. You have to have a drink, like I plastic bags sometimes, because my daughter, they have all their stuff out, so sometimes she needs like a trash bag to put her stuff in. So I try to be prepared for everything. Like, I've been doing this track thing for quite a while, because like my son did track for 4 years, and now she's doing it, and she's my last one. So I will miss it, because I think track kids are awesome. It is they're usually very nice and very encouraging. But today I'm going to be making, as I'm chatting, I have this peaches and cream crochet cotton, and as you can see, we have a bit of a yarn barf. I'm trying to find the center pull, so like this is what I got here, but she's in here somewhere. Oh, wait, here we go. Ooh, we found an end. Okay, I'm just gonna chuck it on the floor there so it's easy. But I am actually helping out with a carnival. Well, I'm not like helping, but I'm helping to make things for the carnival. Like I shared in the past, if you don't know, I belong to a crochet knit group at my church. I'm actually in charge of it. And we try to work with other programs that are also in the church. So we do have a veterans ministry where they are raising money for this carnival for veterans. And they're having a table, a vendor table, selling a whole bunch of things. I think they're having like a crafts one, and then I think I just heard there's a white elephant one. So if you have something random in your house you want to get rid of, you just give it to that. And I guess everything is kind of bought on donation. So they had asked us if we could make some things to sell for the veterans. And they also do a craft show around Christmas time. And the things that sell a lot are crocheted kitchen items like scrubbies and washcloths, Swiffer covers, things like that. So they asked our group if we can make things like that. So I am going to be making a washcloth in a Tunisian using Tunisian crochet. I'm just going to use a regular straight crochet hook. It's an H hook, and so I put a rubber band on the end so the stitches don't fall off. It's going to be a bit crowded, but I don't feel like looking for my Tunisian hook, and plus it has the long cord, so it kind of gets in the way. The cord works great if you're working a blanket or a shawl, but washcloth isn't super long, so sometimes the cord can get in the way. So I just make do with having all my stitches crunched on. And I don't like using, for Tunisian crochet, I do have like a longer straight crochet hook, so it's probably about a foot long. But for some reason, those ones really hurt my hands. I'm not sure why, but I just don't like using those longer straight Tunisian hooks. Like the cord ones are fine, or using this is fine, but like, I don't know, those long ones, they hurt my hands. So I was like, I'm not going to bust that out and hurt my hands. But yeah, so I am actually designing this crochet, this washcloth. I don't have a pattern for you. I'm working on a pattern, and if it turns out really well, I will share it on the channel. I don't know if it will. It might be a fail. So part of the design process, there is a bit of math involved. So I'm using a particular stitch pattern that I actually put on the channel yesterday. I thought it was super pretty and thought it would make a really nice pattern for a dishcloth. But I am not 100% sure on the math, because there is a little bit of math involved when you're designing, especially with certain stitch patterns. Like there's certain multiples. So what I like to do is I still use, here's a piece of scrap paper. I often will use scrap paper to kind of just work out the math a little bit. So what I have on here, so I'm just sharing a little my design process. So I have 4 + 1 in the middle, and then I have these dashes, and they are going to represent Tunisian knit stitches. So I'm going to have 3 stitches on each end, and then in the middle is going to be my multiple of 4 + 1. So right now I'm just working on this chain and seeing how long I want to make the dishcloth. I mean, dishcloths can be in different sizes, so it's, there's no like rule of thumb as far as what size the dishcloth has to be. And sometimes I prefer like a smaller one or like a mid-size one for myself, because I do have smaller hands, and having something like really big to kind of wipe a counter with or do dishes or whatever, it's just too big for me. So sometimes I just like, I'll often make like smaller squares just for myself. Maybe somebody else wouldn't like that, but they're not as small as like a scrubby that you would use maybe on your face or whatever. But they're like in between like a scrubby and a traditional washcloth dishcloth size. And I like that size a lot for myself to do dishes, wipe the counters, whatever, because I have smaller hands. And I do love using handmade kitchen dishcloths and things like that, crocheted ones, because you're saving money. You use it, throw it in the wash, use it again. And I also really love using Tunisian crochet for that kind of stuff, for kitchen items. So you'll probably see on my channel, I do feature Tunisian Tuesday, where I always do a Tunisian crochet project. Either it's a stitch pattern or it's an actual pattern. And a lot of the patterns I've done have been kitchen items. And the reason being is because I just find them to, kitchen items work really well with Tunisian crochet because they hold up. I have made just traditional crochet dishcloths or knitted ones or scrubbies, and I find after, repeated use, throwing in the wash, they tend to lose their shape, they fall apart a little more easily, where the Tunisian ones, they're like bulletproof, they just hold up. So that's usually like my go-to if I'm going to be making a washcloth or a scrubby or something like that. I really like to use Tunisian crochet for that. So I'm not sure how many chains I made, so I'm gonna do a quick count because I can't talk and count at the same time. I'm sure you can relate to that. Okay, so I think the magic number is 43. I'm gonna set my paper aside and I'm just gonna work on my first row. So hopefully my little scribbles there is the right number. My formula that I made, sometimes, like, math is not my best subject, so sometimes my formulations are not always correct. So this is actually going to be a prototype, and hopefully it will work. As I've gotten farther in designing patterns, like through the years, as I've done more and more designing, my math has gotten better with that kind of stuff. When in the beginning, like, I was a hot mess with trying to figure out the math, but it has gotten better throughout the years. But it's not like, it doesn't come super easily for me, but I make do. I make do. I'm still working on, getting better with making clothing items for human beings. Like, I do a lot for dolls, which is a lot easier, but for making humans, trying to figure out the math and the sizing can be a bit tricky. And sizing, I'm sure you've found this too, like, especially for women, sizing is all over the place. Like, it's crazy, trying to find like a pair of pants, a certain sweaters, tops, whatever, dresses, like, one store will say, size 6, and then you go in another store and it's size 6 and it's like a lot larger or smaller. Like, it's all over the place. So I do find that sometimes it's tricky to figure out the sizing in crochet garments because, like I said, women's sizing is just a hot mess. And also, I try to have measurements, which that could be helpful, to help you figure out what size. But even with that, everybody, their tension can be a little bit different, so then that can affect your sizing as well. So it's tricky, but like if you're making a sweater and it's like a boxy style, then, if it's a little bit bigger, it's fine because that's kind of the style. And I find that right now that's kind of really in style right now. I mean, I'm not really up on the like what's hot and happening in fashion. I tend to hang on to my clothes for a very long time, like this particular shirt I'm wearing. It's nothing special. It's kind of blending with my background, but I think I've had this for a very long time. It's probably close to 10 years because I actually do like it, and so I'll just keep wearing it until it doesn't fit or it falls apart. That's usually what happens. My stuff just kind of falls apart and I'll be like, oh, I don't want to get rid of it, but my kids will be like, Mom, let it go. Or when my husband was alive, my husband passed away 3 years ago, and he would even say that. And he didn't say much about my clothing. Like, he half the time he never even really noticed what I was wearing, which sometimes was kind of nice. Like, I used to joke that I could buy a whole new wardrobe and he would not even notice. But if things were looking a little raggedy, then he'd be like, I think it's time to say goodbye to that. So when he noticed that, then I was like, it must be pretty bad, because normally he was not one to notice that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm working on it with the clothing. I would like to design more. I'm currently working on a sweater prototype, and it's looking kind of crazy. I can show it to you. I have it next to me. So here is the back of it, and I'm just basically using scraps of yarn right now. It is actually going to be, I think, like a scrap yarn project, but not like this. I'm just picking up scraps of yarn just to make the prototype because I want to make sure it's going to work. Like, I have this idea. I actually saw it on an AI picture. I talked about it last week, and the design was kind of cute. I thought, oh, I got some inspiration from it, and so I wanted to come up with my own version of this AI thing, because usually the AI things are completely like unrealistic. But this one, I was like, that could be kind of done, maybe, So I thought, I wanted it to be a scrap design, but it's going to look a little bit more uniform. So yeah, this is the back of it, and so we'll see. I have this, it's just going to be like a basic v-neck type sweater. I love a v-neck. I'm a v-neck obsessed. I'm not wearing a v-neck today, which is really unusual for me. I have a lot of v-neck items. At one time I had like 20 some v-neck sweaters, and I was like, that's a problem. That's before I had kids. I still remember going through my clothing for some reason, and I was just going through, I'm like, wow, I have a lot of v-necked items. And they're not necessarily like plunging, I just like the way it looks on me, I guess. So I actually decided, I wonder how many v-neck stuff I have. So I counted them, and just the sweaters alone, I think I had like 22. I'm like, okay, something needs to be done. So I ended up paring them down quite a bit, but yeah, it was kind of funny how I had so many v-necked items. So yes, this is going to be a v-neck sweater. Hopefully it will work. We'll see, not sure. Like I said, it's a prototype. And if it does, then you will see it on the channel, and it will be like a scrap project to use up, bits of yarn, which I do have a lot of, because when you're making clothing, even if you're making an adult small or whatever, it does require a lot of yardage. So I really don't have a lot of one color of yarn. I just don't, and I'm trying not to really buy a lot of yarn, because I do have a lot. So I did some of you know I did a series, Bust My Stash, of trying to go through yarn, and I did go through some. I can put a link to that series if you want to check it out. I've done 2 of them now, but I still have a lot. So, but even though I have a lot, I don't have a lot of one color. So my plan is to have just like a neutral color. So I found like a cream colored white, and then it's going to be like cream colored and then different colored stripes throughout it. So hopefully it will work out. We shall see. I'm still, like I said, it's a prototype, and sometimes prototypes, they don't work out. But hopefully this one will. We'll see. And that's just kind of how it works with designing. It just doesn't always work out. It's a fail, and that's okay. Sometimes I get pretty upset about it, but as I've done this for quite a while, over 10 years, you can't win them all, is basically. And the nice thing with, knitting, crocheting, if it doesn't work out, you can take it apart. So that prototype, I'm going to reuse that yarn. I call it recycling. Obviously that sweater is going to be extremely hideous when it's done, but again, it's a prototype, and so if it does work out, I will make the actual, hopefully nice sweater, and then I will take that one apart and reuse that yarn for something else, maybe another prototype. So that's sort of what I do. I don't want to just bust out the really, nice yarn and then it doesn't work out, and because we will have to be cutting with this project, and so I don't want to have like lots of little bits of yarn, because that's going to be a pain. So I want to make sure that this is going to work out before we get into the nicer yarn that I have in mind for this project. So I'm just working on The stitch pattern that I want to do for this washcloth tends to really curl, so I'm going to be working on some Tunisian pearl stitches. So if you've never done Tunisian crochet, if you can do regular crochet, I'd say go for it. Even knitters I've heard of some knitters that, maybe regular crochet just isn't their thing, or they're really struggling with it, but they tend to be more successful with Tunisian crochet. So, if you're a knitter, maybe you'd want to try out Tunisian crochet and you'd have a little bit more success than regular crochet. I highly recommend that you try it, and you do not have to buy, the Tunisian crochet hooks and all that to try it out. If you just have a straight crochet hook, even if you have the crochet hooks with the thicker handle, you can make little swatches of Tunisian stitches on, those crochet hooks that maybe have, I'm not showing it, like that much working space. You can still play around with Tunisian crochet and see if you like it. And then if you do, then go out and maybe buy some Tunisian crochet hooks. There's all different types now that you can get. I bought ones on Amazon. They are just bamboo and they have the long cord. Those are the ones that I prefer. And I got a whole pack of them for like $10. Now, some of the wood was a little bit rough, but all I did was I took some sandpaper and just sanded them a little bit. Perfectly fine. That really did the trick. So, or you could even, if you don't have sandpaper, even if you have like a really rough like nail file, like an emery board, that'd probably work too. Just to smooth out the hooks if you needed to. Just a little tip there. So I am gonna check my time because I don't know if I need to leave for this meet. Okay, I got about 5 more minutes before I have to pack up and go. And I took a peek outside and it's looking a little cloudy. I'm like, great, figures. It's probably gonna rain when we're there. And they don't usually stop the meets when they're raining. Once in a while, they actually did cancel a meet last week because it was literally like a monsoon outside. The fields were so soaking wet that they wouldn't have been able to hold all of the events. So I'm really glad they canceled. So that's why we're having the meet today. We don't usually have meets on Wednesday, but we're making up from the rained out meet last week. But I actually was kind of surprised they did cancel it because that was the first time that a meet has been canceled for weather that I can remember, other than now when COVID happened, then the whole track season was canceled. It was just getting underway, and then COVID happened, and no, that was it. Everything was canceled. But yeah, they don't usually cancel for weather, but they did last week, so that was pretty surprising. All right, so I'm not sure how many Tunisian pearl rows I'm going to work, but this stitch that I want to use for this project is a curling stitch. So a trick, if you have done Tunisian crochet and you're like, it's curling, throw some pearl stitches in there because pearl stitches tend to lay flat. And so if you incorporate some pearl stitches in with your Tunisian project, that can help it lay flat. So I'm hoping that this will do the trick because the stitch pattern is really pretty, but it's a curler. She really likes to curl. So hoping these pearl stitches are strong enough to hold back the curl. So I'm really going to be trying in the future to be a little bit more mindful with my channel. I in the past would be kind of like consistent with posting, and then I wouldn't be. So I've been trying to be a lot more consistent, and I'm going to try more on Instagram and TikTok because I would like to make a go of this if I could. I'm not expecting to be like viral or anything, but if I could have it be a nice little side thing, that would be great, because I will need to figure out something. Right now I don't have to work. My husband died 3 years ago, and I did qualify for some Social Security, and that has helped me out. We had some life insurance, but that's going to be ending in about a year or so, and then I'm really going to have to figure out what I need to do for income. I mean, I don't have to, like, it's not, unless something catastrophic happens, it's not an absolute emergency. Like, some people think that as soon as the Social Security ends, like, I'm going to be completely destitute, which is not the case. But I will have to, you know, take steps to figure out something to live. And my career that I had when I was younger, I was a hairstylist, and I worked in the business for about 25 years, about 13 years full-time, and then the rest of that time was part-time. But I'm not looking to get back into that, so I need to figure out something else. And unfortunately, I do not have a college degree, so which is difficult in this day and age, but I do really enjoy doing YouTube. I love crocheting, I love knitting, I love sharing what I do. I love sharing tutorials and patterns. I just, you know, that's something I really love, and if I could earn a living off of that, that would be amazing. It hasn't happened yet, but you know, I haven't been the most consistent, and so I'm gonna try. I'm coming up with a plan, and it's just been hard because I, you know, am still a mom, and I have to be there for my kids. My two older kids are young adults, so they don't need me as much, but my younger one, you know, she's still a minor, and I need to be there for her, especially, you know, since her dad isn't here anymore, and we don't have family. I have some family nearby, but you know, they're busy doing their own things. I really don't have that major support system to help me out with taking my daughter places, going to track meets. Like, I'm the only one that usually is at her track meet, and it kind of breaks my heart because I wish, you know, there were other people there to cheer her on, but you know, I'm it. Sometimes her siblings can come, but most times, like, her sister works at night, you know, like she's at work now, and so that's out, and my son's often working evenings or he's in school, so you know, it's just usually me, and so I really want to be able to be there for her, you know, even though she is almost out of school, but you know, it's been a tough time, and so I don't always have a lot of time to devote. Now it's getting warmer, so yard work, I have to start with doing the yard work, and I can't pay anybody to do it, so I have to do it, and I like doing it, but it takes up a lot of my time. So if I have to work outside of the home, which, you know, if I have to, I have to, but it's going to be a big juggling act of trying to take care of my house and my yard and help my kids and work. But you know, other people do it. Like, I'm not trying to be like, oh, feel sorry for me. You know, life is life, and we don't always get to choose, you know, what we want. You know, it just doesn't always work out that way, but you know, I'll give it my best shot, and we'll just see what happens. So I am almost done my forward pass of this row, and I think I'm going to have to go to this meet and probably get rained on, but I hope you enjoyed this video. It was definitely a bit of a random video. And on Friday, I'm going to try to be posting on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Friday. I know it's kind of random. Like, it probably should be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but you know, I'm never normal. So for me, it just works better to post Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. So I am going to have a video on Friday of this really cute hat that I made. I'm actually pretty excited about it. I made it for myself. I don't usually make a lot of things for myself, but I made myself this adorable bucket hat, and I hate hats, but I like to wear a hat at the beach, so I made myself a hat at the beach, and I think it turned out super cute. So I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe. If you did not, then just scroll on by, and I'll see you next time. Bye!